Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Skill Exchange Program. This is your host, Bilal Heather. And today we're joined by Ms. Sameen Reza, a passionate researcher and educator whose work lies at the intersection of learning, teaching, and technology. With a background in computer science and years of teaching experience at the undergraduate level, she has consistently explored what enables students to truly learn and thrive in the classroom. As a Fulbright scholar, she pursued her PhD in educational communication and technology in the United States, where her research focused on how immersive technologies like virtual reality and artificial intelligence can deepen engagement and foster collaborative learning. Her work in learning analytics offers powerful insights into how technology can be purposefully used to create meaningful and equitable educational experience. So we're honored to have her with us today to share her professional insights and personal journey. So thank you, Sameen, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Bilal, for inviting me, and thank you for the grand introduction.
No, you deserve that. So first of all, Sameen, about your professional career, professional expertise in computer science, learning analytics, and education technology. So let's start with this question. From your perspective, what is learning and how is it observed in the classroom?
Okay, so before talking about learning, I'd just like to let you know that, as you just mentioned, I have a background in computer science, and then I was teaching computer science at Beacon House National University for a good 15 years. And then I got this opportunity to do my PhD, which combined the two fields. So that was a rare opportunity, because usually we have degrees which are focused on one thing, but I got this opportunity of doing a PhD in education, communication, and technology, which was actually combining all my three interests. So I think these last 6 years have been really defining for my learning, my own learning, and my own concepts have changed quite a bit in the last 6 years.
Mhm.
So from that perspective, when you talk about learning, the way I understand it now and the way that I've researched about it, I would say that learning can be simply defined as a process. So it is a process of going from one place to another, simply developing your mind where it is at one point to taking it to another point in time. Now, when you look at the research, there are two types of basically learnings. There's the concept of learning a skill, and there's a concept of increasing your knowledge. So when you talk about skills, it's like, for instance, if you want to learn driving, right? So there's not much, what you would say, there's not much knowledge there. It's just basically you need to have the skill of learning. And you don't have to remember a lot of things, you just have to know how to do it. And once you know how to do it, nobody can take that skill away from you. And secondly, you need to keep on practicing to get more perfect at it, right? So that is one kind of learning in which you sort of learn a skill. It may be driving, it may be cooking, perhaps, it may be writing an essay is also a skill, and so on. There's another kind of learning in which you develop your mind, and that kind of learning, from the theoretical perspective, it is increasing your cognitive ability. So what research tells us is that learning basically is creating I would simply put it, they call it schemas, but putting it simply, it is basically building a map of concepts in your mind, right? So as this map grows, your knowledge grows. And for this knowledge, it is important that you connect it to your prior knowledge. So अगर मैं एक चीज आज सीखती हूँ, लेट्स से, और मैं उसको एक इंडिपेंडेंट तरीके से वो बस मेरे दिमाग में है, तो वो मेरे दिमाग में बहुत देर तक रहेगी नहीं, unless I connect it to in some way to my prior knowledge. So it is this growing map. I like to visualize it as a tree. जैसे एक दरख्त की शाखें होती है ना, वो बढ़ती जाती हैं, तो नॉलेज इस तरह से इंक्रीज होता है, और इस नॉलेज के इंक्रीज होने को लर्निंग कहते हैं. In my opinion, this is how I visualize it.
Yeah, exactly. Sameen, I was playing lawn tennis in my young age when I was a teenager. So when in the first year I was learning tennis, how to play forehand, how to play backhand, right? So after that, I left tennis for like 1 month, right? But I know how to play it. But because of my
Exactly.
muscle memory,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
because of
don't
my
have to
muscle
read
memory,
books to learn it again.
I couldn't play it that well, right? So it took
Yeah.
me again to 2 weeks to practice it
Yeah.
again. So
Yeah.
make my muscle memory and then played
Refresh.
like before, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so
True.
that came in my mind because of that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
perfect
So
answer.
skill learning is also important. Developing knowledge is also important. And in fact, both of them are often interconnected with, but sometimes we don't see the connection here because especially in Pakistan, because we are so focused on learning to earn something,
Exactly,
we are
ma'am.
basically,
Exactly, exactly.
we talk more about skills rather than knowledge, and we don't talk about the connection, but there's always a connection between knowledge and skills. Whatever knowledge you gain, it helps improve your skills, and however you improve your skills, they increase in your knowledge. So there is this connection, but it is always it is all not always, I would say, but it is quite often it is invisible.
Yeah, but Sameen, as you've mentioned, that learn to earn, especially in Pakistan, um, since my childhood and everyone's childhood, we are taught that, okay, do this degree to get a better job, right? So
Yes.
become a doctor to earn well, not to,
Yeah,
cure
serve
some
the
disease or
humanity
something.
or do something to
Uh,
yourself,
do
right?
you think in Pakistan, do you think in Pakistan we can change this perception in the next generation? Because it is very important to have research of your own for every country, right? Because people like you to do research, you go abroad, right? Because Pakistan has no facilities, there's no perception like that. So what can we
Yeah.
do for the next generation? Because this generation wasted in this case, from my
Yeah.
point of view. What do you think?
So it's a loaded question. So, and the answers are not easy. Had the answers been easy,
That's
we
very
would have
hard.
found them by now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there is hope. I think you are very right in saying that for the time being, there and since at least since we have entered professional life, we know that skill is sort of given more priority over knowledge, and whoever has better skills has a better chance to earn over here.
Yeah.
And you are again very right in saying that there's not much research activity going on in Pakistan, and that is one reason, like we are not developing our knowledge as well as it should be. Uh, but I think there is hope because again, the environment is very important for this case. I think one of the main reasons of our lack of ability, I wouldn't say it's a lack of ability, it's a lack of that kind of thinking that knowledge and increasing knowledge is important, is because of our economic conditions. So once, if a person is always, bogged down by the fact that how will he support his family, what will his children do, how will you put the food on the table every day, so obviously it is very difficult to think about larger things when you have a host of smaller problems to think about. So
Yeah.
a very big factor in all of this is obviously our economic situation. But when I say that there is hope, I say this because now one thing which I feel technology has done, and it's obvious to everybody, it's not something new that I'm saying, but it has brought people close together. So now it is easier to look at the research, what is going on in the different developed parts of the countries, and not only look at the research, it is also easier to now connect with those people. So talk about 15 to 20 years ago, we didn't have this kind of communication technology available. So there were, I would say, two different worlds, but now these worlds are sort of merging into one. So if one tries to take advantage of this opportunity, and they should build their networks, they should get in touch with people who are doing your kind of research or the kind of research that you are interested in, and work together with those people. And that was the aim of my talk today, is to like collaboration and technology, they are the two main pillars on which.
So okay, according to you, there is hope in this era because of the digital world, briefly,
Yes.
right? So let's go to the next question. So what is the perception of effectiveness of online versus face-to-face instruction? So right now, as you can see, there are online tuitions, there are online courses, right? As you can see, TutorBees.net is working in the one-to-one personalized learning as well, right? So what do you think, from your perspective, which one is better? And at the same time, tell us uh, about online learning. Is it going to be very common globally and in Pakistan, especially in Pakistan? Because when we go to, especially in government schools, and we try to educate them about online learning, it gets really hard for them, right?
Yeah.
Even though once we took a lot of laptops so they can practice how to sign up, right? Even signing up
Yeah.
was very hard for them. So in
Definitely.
this era, I'm talking about in this era. So I just wanted to ask globally and in Pakistan,
Yeah.
what is better, online or face-to-face instruction? And
Okay.
is online learning is going to be very common and face-to-face instruction is going to be outdated? So what do you think about that?
So again, my views have changed in the past 6 years, and now I feel that whether it's face to face or whether it's online, what we should focus on is the learning part, right? So learning is the important thing. Face to face, online, blended, these are just modes in which you are offering them, right?
Yeah.
So, but having said that, it does not mean that it's not important. Like the mode is definitely very important, whether you offer it in face to face or whether you offer it on online. But what I'm trying to say here is that if we keep the focus on learning, and then we see what is the best mode to offer it. Should we offer this kind of learning in a face-to-face format? Or should we offer this kind of learning in an online format? Or should we offer this kind of learning in a blended learning format, right? So there are some things that I think are still difficult to achieve in an online format. For instance, again, the same skill that you were talking about, playing tennis
Yeah, of
or
course.
maybe driving something, or maybe even creating art or something like that, it is still difficult to offer that through online mode, right? At the
Yeah.
same time, what online does offer is you can't have a student sitting in Lahore and another student sitting in Karachi, and you can't call them both to the same classroom. So it's
Of course.
impossible to have two students who are geographically displaced to have face-to-face instruction in that kind. So obviously, online offers that advantage. So the way we put it as research, as education researchers, is that every mode of instruction has some kind of affordances. Now, when I talk about affordance is a term used in human computer interaction. And the simplest way to think about it is when you look at something, you know how it is operated. For instance, uh, if it's a very simple thing, let's say it's a switch or a button, nobody has to teach you that you need to press it in order to work, right?
Yeah.
Simply, if you see a door handle, you know that it needs to be pulled, right?
Yeah.
So that is called an affordance of something. So simply, online learning offers some kinds of affordances which are not offered by face-to-face instruction. For
Exactly.
instance, you can you can teach each student individually something which is catered or personalized to their personal sort of ability, to their personal prior knowledge, to their personal wishes, which you can't do in face-to-face instruction because you have to teach a group of 20 to 30 students, right? So there are certain
Hmm.
affordances which are offered by online instruction, There are certain affordances offered by face-to-face instruction. We just have to see what is our objective of teaching and what is the best way to achieve it. But when I look at global trends, I think where we are going is basically every learning is going to become some sort of blended learning.
Yeah.
Because even if you do face-to-face learning, like I was there in New York University for my PhD, and when we used to go into the class, I had a number of courses that I was doing, but we were supposed to do everything like reading, commenting on those readings, talking to each other through a learning management system that they had given. Everything was being done outside the class. When we came into the class, we were just discussing about what we had read the whole week. So it was kind of, I mean, my degree wasn't online. My degree wasn't, it was purely face-to-face instruction, if you can call it so. But
Yeah.
most of the learning content was still being offered in a digitized mode. And most of the learning happened outside the classroom rather than inside the classroom. So I
Okay.
would say
Okay.
that this is where things are going. Like it's not, these boundaries are going to blur very soon. I think they're already blurred. Like there's not going to be three kinds of learning, face to face, online. It's just going to be blended learning. That is how I see that even in face to face instruction, you'll need to have the online component. And even in online instruction, you will need to sometimes, see the people, meet the people, talk to them, meet them face to face at some point in time. So I think all kinds of learning are now going to merge into blended learning.
Merge into blended learning. Oh, that's a perfect answer for that. Thank you so much for that. So, okay. So, tell us about learning analytics and what is information literacy?
Okay. So both of these are very important concepts. And, again, as I said, technology, the affordances of technology. If I speak out, I can put on the slides, I can hope that I've delivered my message, but there's no definite way of checking how much the student has absorbed. How much have they learned from the experience? How much do they know now, which they didn't know earlier, right? So this kind of teaching is, I think, kind of based on assumptions, like because I think I delivered the best lecture there was, because I think I used so many resources as a teacher, and because I'm such a good speaker. I'm not talking about myself, obviously,
You
I'm
are,
just
you
giving you
are.
this example. Like I think that we as teachers think no, because we think that we've done all these things, we've checked all the right boxes. So now it is the students' sort of responsibility, or we actually assume that because we've done such a great job, students should have learned whatever we have delivered. But the thing is that if you look at the statistics, even from the best of the lectures, students are only able to gauge 5% of it. And this is again based on what kind of metrics and from what the students score in that test. This is how I sort of measure learning,
Hmm.
right? In a
Hmm. Yeah.
face-to-face environment. Now, when I talk about learning analytics is that it allows you to see the process of learning. So when I talk about the process of learning, I want to spend a bit of time on this. Like there are two things, the product of learning and the process of learning. So the product is whatever the students create at the end. If you have asked him to write an essay, so you'll be marking the essay, and that will be a product of learning.
Hmm.
Right? And at the end of the day, you'll
Ms. Sameen, your voice is cutting out.
look at all his. Did he create an outline? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it's working now. It's working now. It's working now. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So basically the process of learning is how did that student create that product,
Yeah.
right? So what learning analytics does is, because we have now technology to learn something, we can now collect data, and we can use that data to see how did the student get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And that is simply what learning analytics is. It is not only collecting data, it is also analyzing that data. It is also making decisions based on data on how to help students learn.
Okay.
So I would like to see.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sameen. I'm sorry, please.
No,
Sameen, I was just
go ahead.
there are teachers who use KWL chart, if you know about it. K means no, W means what, L means
Yeah.
learn. So would you put that in
Uh,
that scenario?
yes, so this is a pedagogical thing. KDWL charts, like jigsaw
Yeah.
puzzles. It's like the jigsaw pedagogical tools that teachers use in the class. So again, um, I would not put it directly into learning analytics, but learning analytics has these three pillars. It has pedagogy, it has instruction, and it has technology. So all three things come together to inform learning analytics. So
Hmm.
when we talk about learning analytics, the basic idea is to use the data that we collect as students learn to help them to help them in their learning processes, to help them learn better. Now, there's an issue with this. Like whenever you collect data, obviously there is some kind of privacy to which students are entitled, and you are collecting data about them. So it has that concern, like maybe a student doesn't want that data to be collected. They don't want the teachers to work on that data. So there are some kind of issues associated with collection of data. And there's a concept of policing also, like, if I collect data about you I can't collect data without you knowing about it. But let's say if in your interest, if I start to collect your data and I start from, okay, so Bilal went to the library, Bilal as a student, he went to the library this morning. He came out of the library in about 1 hour. He issued this book while he was there, and things like that. So all these things are letting us know about your activities, and we can relate them to how you would have learned, right?
Okay, yeah.
At the same time, a student may also perceive it like I'm being watched or I'm being policed in a way, like all my activities are now being recorded, which is not a good feeling, definitely. So how to overcome this? So I think of learning analytics more from the perspective, like it's not more about policing. It's like a doctor. So a doctor also needs to have your data in order to help you get well. So unless he has your blood reports, unless he has your other, what, I'm not a medical person, so I don't have the terms right now. But let's say he doesn't have your cholesterol level, he doesn't have your sugar readings, etc. He can't do much. He cannot read much just by looking at your face. He needs to have some data in order to make some decisions. The same is the case with an educator. When you give him the data, he can actually help you learn better. And without that data, a teacher can still, give you some knowledge, but with that data, he's more equipped. So rather than thinking of it like this data will be used against me, one needs to think like this data will be used to help me learn more.
Yes. So, Sameen,
So that is
if
about learning. And your second,
okay,
I didn't
so
answer your question about information literacy.
yeah. So if we use this process in
So
our actually our voices are delaying, so that is why it's getting okay. So if
I get it. I get it.
if we use this process in our schools from class one, for example, to 10th grade, right? This way, we will be able to understand the aptitude of the student, in which field the student can go in the future. So I think Japan or some other country is doing that. I don't remember. I should have researched about it. So if this process is, if we use this process in our schools, it will be very helpful for the student as well as for the teacher as well. So to guide them to counsel them for their career in the future. What do you think about that?
Definitely. I think the concept is not very difficult. If you look at it, um, you must have played online games, right?
Yeah,
So, you need a login to play a game, and then it takes you from one level to another, and it keeps your history, like how many games did you play, how many did you win, etc., etc. So you have a profile, right?
yeah,
Similarly, every patient has a profile. So if I change doctors, I'd simply take my medical record and take it to the next doctor, and then I don't need to go through everything again. He has my record, he knows what I'm facing, and he knows how to go on from there.
exactly, exactly,
So although this concept is very common, even in the game industry, in every industry, we have Nadra having our records, we've got
exactly.
the doctors keeping our records, but we don't have the same in schools. We don't have a student's profile.
That's a very
Whenever a
good point.
student
That's a
enters a
very
school,
good point. Yes, yes,
we need to have a profile because the student enters the school at one point. What was his profile at that time? And then as he continues through his classes, as he continues through his learning, how does that profile develop? What are the extracurricular activities that he did? What are his achievements? What are his weak points? What are things where he needs more support, etc.? So all this needs to be built so that if tomorrow the student tries or he wishes to change a school, his profile moves with him. The other school wouldn't know of his past achievements. They won't know
yeah,
what kind of student he is, what are background issues, what does his parents do, what are his siblings doing, etc. So all this profile, if we have this kind of a profile, it will definitely help us as educators to meet the student where they are, and that is what personalization is. So what I would like to talk about is, like, it's not just one generic thing that you need to teach to every student. Every student has their own requirements, every student have their own interest, every student has their own passion. And to help the student discover those passion, you need to have this kind of profile at your hand
exactly.
so that you
Yeah,
can help guide and you can help teach them what they wish to learn about,
yeah, 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 yeah.
not what you want to teach them about. They should be able to learn what they want to learn about. That is the important thing.
That's the important thing. Yes. So, from your
Yeah.
perspective, Sameen, as per your teaching career, what needs to change to facilitate students in their learning, especially in Pakistan as well as globally? Since you've been to USA and you've seen the
There are a
institutes.
lot of things. There are one thing that, okay, so I can talk on hours about this.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I think that one thing that needs to change is the teacher's mindset. And the teacher's mindset is uh, what what I would suggest is that right now, and I'm guilty of that myself, like if I've studied computer science and I'm here, I'm at a university and I'm delivering a lecture, I feel that I am the one who knows about this thing. My students don't know anything about it. And I'm just simply going to talk and speak, and this is how students will learn.
Yeah,
So the teacher's mindset needs to change. How? In three ways. Number one, I am not an expert. I have some knowledge, but that does not mean that I know everything that there is to know about this subject. So I am also a learner. The first thing that every teacher needs to realize is that I am an educator, but I'm also a learner. I'm not an expert. The second thing that a teacher needs to realize is that the teacher and the student should be on the same team. It should not be like, okay, I have created a test. The students are supposed to do it. And now I will evaluate it to see how
yeah,
many did well and how many did not.
yeah,
When you think things in that way, you are thinking of two teams. I am against the student,
yeah,
not
yeah.
against, but I am the other end of the table and the student is
Exactly.
on the other side. We need to think together. I am a teacher, am successful only and only if each and every of my student is able to display that he gained some knowledge. So if I have even one student failing my course, it's like the teacher failed. When we
Exactly.
think of things like that, we need to change our mindset. Like I have to support each and every student to gain some knowledge because out of this learning situation that we are in. Okay. So
Yeah.
that was the second thing that needs to change about the mindset. The third thing to change about the mindset is we, in this age of information technology and in the age of artificial intelligence, teachers are not the only sources of knowledge. A student can go anywhere. They can go to chat gpt, even they can go to books,
Yes.
they can go to online, they can look at journals, they can look at papers. There's so much of knowledge out there. A teacher is a very, very small part of it, right?
Exactly.
So as teachers, what we need to do in terms of changing our mindset is that we should think of ourselves as facilitators rather than teachers.
Rather
We
than
are
teach.
here to facilitate the process of knowledge. We are not
Yes.
here
Yes.
to give knowledge. We are not here to, as such, create knowledge. We are just there to facilitate the students in their journey of discovery. So I'd
Yeah.
like to think of it as a treasure hunt. So there's a treasure hunt, and you are
Yeah.
there, and the students are looking for those treasures. Now, you don't have to tell them, like, this is where I hid this thing. You just have to guide them in subtle ways that this is where
Yes.
they could possibly find a treasure. And it is up to
Yes.
their effort, how much effort they put in to find that treasure and how much they are able to gain out of it. But basically, the role of a teacher is that of a facilitator and not as a provider of knowledge.
Exactly. It's a very good point that teachers have to understand that they are actually facilitators, right? So since you've mentioned about
Yes.
artificial intelligence and you have a lot of experience in that, so I have a question regarding that as well. That uh, obviously you've been exploring AI in education, right? How do you see AI agents acting as collaborative learning partners rather than just information sources? As you've mentioned, also ChatGPT, I remember in 2020, I think ChatGPT became common, or 21, to be precise. So a lot of my nephews, right, my friends' nephews, or uh, my friends' younger brother who were in university or in school, they were doing their assignments easily from Chat GPT, or I was wishing that I wish it was there in
There
my
in our time,
in my time. So I have a question.
it would have been much easier. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about AI agents. How can we be helpful in the being a learning partners?
Okay. So again, we go back to step one, which was your question about learning. And one
Yeah.
thing that I want to tell you about learning is that it cannot happen in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You have to have a certain environment, and by environment I mean, from what I've seen in my research, learning cannot take place alone. So you need to have at least one person, one more, I won't call it a person because it can also be an AI thing, but you need to have one more knowledgeable thing
Source.
in
Yeah.
order to learn. Yeah, not even a source, but a collaborating partner, I would say,
Collaborating part. Yeah.
So you need to have someone. It may be a teacher, it may be another student, it may be an
Exactly.
AI agent, right? So in any case, learning cannot happen alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about teachers, teachers are good collaborating partners, obviously. They can help you guide towards the correct kind of sources to use to increase your knowledge, right? Now, another thing that is there is like how I told you, like learning is about developing this network of concepts in your mind, right? So, but how does this actually grow? How
Yeah.
do you create concepts? You can't go into your mind and you plant something there. It
Exactly.
doesn't happen
Exactly.
like that. So,
That
how
is a
to grow
question.
this concept? So that is what is long known about education, is that all knowledge is constructive. You have to construct knowledge. You can't transfer it from one brain to another. It's not like energy, like it goes from a place of higher potential to a place of lower potential. It doesn't happen like that. It's not osmosis, it's not diffusion. So how learning happens is you have to construct it.
Yeah.
And by constructing it, what do we mean? Like two people, when they talk to each other, when they discuss with each other, they argue with each other. And there are certain things in pedagogical terms like we have positive interdependence between them, we have things that help them collaborate. So both of them create a picture in their minds which was not there before, right? Or it was not in the same, it was not there in the same way as before. They developed their knowledge. It's like you've heard that story about an elephant and six blind men trying to figure out what it is. So there's an elephant and there are six blind men around it. And because they are blind, they cannot see the elephant. So one of them looks at, happens to touch the tail, and he thinks that it's a rope, right? The whole elephant is just a rope because it happened to touch the tail of it. Another blind man, he sort of wraps his arms around the leg and he thinks that it's a trunk of a tree. You know, it's like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good story to to put an analogy to it. Like, it's the same as with knowledge. Not even one of us knows what exactly knowledge is, right?
Exactly.
So we are just trying to create our own sort of understanding of it. And wherever we interact with it, we say, okay, I think this is what it is. And then there's another person who's thinking, okay, this is what it is. And another person who's thinking, okay, this is what it is. And when we are able to, combine our three pictures, only then we will be able to carve out, oh, it's an elephant.
It's an elephant. Exactly. Yeah.
If it was just one blind man, he would just keep on thinking, oh, this is the trunk of the tree, and this is what I know, and this is what
That is what I know. Yes.
Right? So unless we put all the parts of the picture together, we will never be able to come to the actual reality. And this is what collaboration is. Like, I have a picture in my mind, you have a picture in another mind, we are interacting with the thing. And as we are interacting, we are discussing among ourselves what it is. And then using our shared vision, we create a whole picture. Oh, this is what it was. So that is my idea. And when I think about students, that is a very good option, but everybody does not have a student or a teacher to help them learn, right? But AI is something which is now available to everyone. Or it can be made available to everyone. So now, instead of a teacher learning alone, they can always use an AI agent. And I think that is very important in today's world, definitely. But the AI agent should not be used as a teacher. They should be used as a learning partner. That is what is important. They should, the AI agent is also learning, because AI is also based on machine learning and the data, the past data, the historical data. That is how it produces its output. So it's a continuous learning process. So it's a continuous learning process for the AI as well as a continuous learning process for the student.
So you think that AI will not obsolete teaching industry in the future?
No, why should it? It will develop it more.
It will develop it more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, like, it's whenever a new thing comes, we are always scared by it. We think, oh, this will now put so many things out of fashion. For instance, the mobile has put the camera out of fashion. It has put so many things out of fashion. When there was this industrial revolution, we thought that tractors would put the farmers out of action, because now a tractor can do the work that 10 farmers could do, But it's not like that. Every technology is posing a challenge, and you have to rise above the challenge.
So the challenge.
The thing is, if it's a calculator, and you say, oh, now because the calculator can do so much, I don't need my mind to do things. It's not like that. Now you can think more because you have the calculator to help you. So I like to talk about artificial intelligence as augmented intelligence. I want to change that. I want to change that. I don't want to use the term artificial, because there's nothing called artificial intelligence. It's basically augmented intelligence. It helps you to think more, to think on a higher level. Now you can delegate your normal routine tasks to the AI agent. Tell him to do all the like the stuff that we ask a calculator to do. Like, if a calculator can do thousands
just like calculator, just like calculator.
Yeah, use it as a tool.
Yeah, use it as a tool, and just like calculator, it's making it more efficient and more speedy work, as you can see.
Exactly.
Right?
So now you can do more. because it is doing all the dirty work for you.
All
The
the
sim
dirty work,
is,
yes.
yeah, so
Yes,
now we have to rise above the AI agents. We
yeah.
have to think on a higher level. We have to think on a broader level and let the AI agent do the dirty work for
They
us.
do the
So
dirty
now
work,
that's
yes.
how we rise above it, right? But if you
Yes,
just use the AI agent to replace what you were doing, you are actually acting as its slave, not as its master. So
exactly,
be a
exactly.
master, not a slave.
Exactly. Thank you, Sameen. So we're getting to the end of this
Yeah,
interview, sadly. But in last questions, I also want to talk about virtual reality, since you have
yeah,
experience in it. So what
yeah.
potential do you see in virtual reality for transforming the learning experience, especially in subjects like science? And I remember, if I'm not wrong, correct me, virtual reality came before this AI generation, right? Like Chat
Yeah,
GPT and all.
yeah,
But still, virtual reality
yeah.
couldn't make that way,
Impact.
yeah,
Yeah,
that impact, yes. So,
yeah.
why? And at the same time, what is the potential of it in the future? And especially, of course, globally and Pakistan. Yeah,
Exactly. So VR and AI, I wouldn't like to compare the two because they are two different
of course.
paradigms, I would say. Both have their use in education, definitely. But VR was actually, it came from the gaming industry. So
Mm.
students like to play games using virtual reality. Not students, I mean everyone. So it came from the gaming industry, and we have got a lot of games based on VR. And it made its way into education much later. I think the last 4 or 5 years we've been trying to have VR into education. So the affordance of VR, again, I would like to call it an affordance,
Yeah,
is that
cost
it
is
allows you to
expensive.
micro, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's a technology, you can use it to anything that you would like to use it for. But for education, what it offers is that it allows students to see very minute things which we can't see otherwise. And not only see, it's like about a sensory kind of learning. You can also touch, you can also feel, you can also do a lot of, you can manipulate those objects when you are within VR. So very minute things, and then things which are very distant. For instance, in my research, the VR application that we used was trying to teach students about animal cells. So as you know, SL is a very small thing, and the best way to teach about it right now is showing students pictures and having textbooks which offer that information. But within VR, we could allow students to actually pull apart uh, an animal cell. They could touch the nucleus, they could rotate
yeah,
it and see what is inside it. They can
yeah,
even break it open
yeah.
and see what is inside the nucleus. So that gives a kind of sensory kind of learning. And this was obviously aimed for school students, not for university level students, but it was like that. Similarly, we had another application which taught students about the stars and the suns and the different planets. So, not everyone can go to Mars to learn about Mars. So we can bring
Of course, yeah.
Mars into a virtual reality experience and let the students have this experience as if they were on Mars. They can see how it feels like to be weightless, for instance, and different things like that. So I think that is the affordance of VR, that it allows students to see things which are not very easy to see in real life. And the way we teach about them is a bit abstract. So with virtual reality, it becomes more real because you can actually give those things to students in their hands. Having said that, virtual reality has a cost to it because there's this headset, this expensive headset. I was using the Oculus 3, and at that time, I
Mm.
think it was one of the cheaper versions, but still it was about 500 US dollars. So
Okay.
again, not everybody, we can't afford it, especially countries like Pakistan. We can't have VR in the classroom
Yes,
because
it's
simply
around
because of
like
the cost of
160,000 rupees in Pakistani, approximately. Yeah.
def. Yeah, I think it would be that. And the new headsets which are coming in, they are really very lightweight and they are easier to manipulate. But again, as you know, that is the case with technology. Like every new technology is very expensive.
Expensive,
So I
yes.
think that is one of the reasons that even in the US, you don't have schools which are offering a VR headset for every student. It's not like that. When we used to do research, we used to go into schools carrying our own 8 to 10 headsets, and then we used to offer those to students. So it was a new experience for them. So if the US cannot afford its students to have VR right now, obviously Pakistan is much far behind. So I think that is one of the reasons that it's not very common. But again, VR will not ensure learning. We have to see what is VR best for and what kind of learning can be provided through VR. And I think one of the potentials there is like to see things which are not very obvious to the student, or we can't bring those things to the classroom, we can easily bring them to the VR experience.
Yes, yes. So, as my first, in my first questions, I asked you about the online classes versus face-to-face interaction. So, uh,
Yeah.
in the future, in a very late future, far future, when VR will be available in a cheap prices, like I remember when
Yeah.
I was a kid in late 90s, phones were not affordable, right?
Yeah.
Very specific people were using phones,
Exactly.
Motorola
Yeah.
or the big
Yeah.
phones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And then the smartphones and then everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So as I was asking you about the face-to-face interaction or face-to-face interaction, will it be obsolete in the future? So don't you think that VR will resolve that issue of face-to-face interaction?
Uh, so I don't think there is an issue in face-to-face instruction which VR can resolve.
Hmm.
It's like offering things in different
Hmm.
using different vehicles, you know. Like
Yeah.
if I want to travel from here to Rawalpindi, so I have a number of options, right? I can do it from through a plane, I can do it in a car, I can do it by train.
Train. Yeah.
And then my circumstances will define which one which would I like to use. If I want to reach there really early, I will have to use different options, etc. So it's the same. I think VR can help things out in all kinds of instruction. Like
Hmm.
you can have online instruction using VR, you can also use VR in face-to-face instruction. It's just like seeing where it will help the most and where it is most suitable. So
Yeah.
apart from the cost, another thing that I found in VR, which needs some work, is like when you have two students face to face and they are both wearing headsets, they cannot communicate very easily to each other. Because obviously they are wearing headsets and it's not easy to look at the other person. It's not very easy to, you can't see the other person. You have another thing in front of you. So it's like having a screen in front of you, in front of your eyes. So you can't talk to the other person. So one thing that we require for collaboration within VR is that both the students should be in the same shared space. So it should be a multiplayer kind of an experience.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I'm using my headset, the other person using their headset, but we should all be able to see the common thing, and
Yeah.
we should be able to interact within that shared space. Only
Yeah.
then we can have collaboration between two students. So
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter if that student is sitting next to me or that student is sitting miles apart.
Hmm.
See, if you have to share that virtual experience, then
Yeah.
it's not necessary for the people to be sitting together physically. So
Exactly.
in that
Exactly.
way, I think what you were trying to say is like, yes, when if we are able to collaborate using VR, we might not need face-to-face instruction in that way. Yeah.
Hmm. 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 So, Sameen, I have used once or twice the VR device
Hmm.
somewhere. I don't remember, but it was I was I was playing a very horror game in it, right?
Hmm.
With the headphones, and
Yeah.
it was so real. It was so real that it was very
Yeah.
scary. And
Yeah.
I was amazed about this technology. It was very amazing.
You know,
And
when I was
this,
doing my
yeah.
research, we had the students sit down and do it, because if they stand up, and they were obviously, we cleared an area around them so that even if they are standing up and using that technology, they don't bump into something.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you are more in the virtual world rather than in the real world. So we had to actually do a number of steps to ensure their safety. And one of
Yeah,
them was clearing out the area around them so that they could
yeah.
move about without bumping into anything.
Exactly, exactly. I recently went to a VR gaming zone, right? So when I was wearing that, and that was a cubic area, right? Like two rooms, hardly two rooms.
Yeah.
And when I was going towards the wall, there was on my screen there was a digital wall as well. So
Yeah.
there was so I knew that I cannot go further. So
Yeah, there's
that was a very good
the
idea.
yeah, it demarcates a whole area around you. But
Yeah,
even within that circle, you should not have anything. That circle that it creates around you, there should not be
exactly,
a physical object there. Yeah.
exactly,
Another
exactly.
thing that I forgot to tell you about is like even games are a very good source of learning. And now we have all these games coming around, which are not only for entertainment purposes, but they are designed for learning. So gaming
The
is a
design for
very
it.
upcoming area. Game-based learning analytics is a whole new research area which is coming up, and it shows like how, as students, because games is something everybody likes to do. Learning is
Yeah,
not something everybody likes to do. So
exactly.
you can offer that tablet enclosed in a sweet toffee, I would say. So when you offer learning games, it's like that, offering learning within
Ex-
something students enjoy to do. So we
yeah,
have specific games which are designed for learning, and doing and playing those games helps students learn. You can look at my research lab, which is known as Create. Create is the Center of Research for Emerging Technologies in Education, and they actually create these games which, just by playing those games, you can help students develop their brains, their cognitive skills,
brilliant.
and their knowledge.
It's a
Yeah.
very good idea, ma'am. It's a very good idea.
Yeah.
I will definitely see it. So, okay, let's go to your personal journey about your education experience and about your Fulbright scholarship, so the youngsters could inspire themselves. So, what was your path through professional education and experience leading to a PhD on a Fulbright scholarship?
So, Bilal, I would say I've been very lucky throughout my life, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I happened to do computer science at a time when very few students were actually pursuing computer science as a profession. And very few female students were there. Aisha would let you know, like in our batch of students at FAST, me and Aisha were the only two girls in a class of 40 at that time.
At that
So I
time,
was
early
very
90s, I
lucky
think,
to
right?
have yeah, it was early 90s. I graduated in 96. Yeah. So
96,
it
sorry,
was
yeah.
a very different time at that time, and it was very different to see where this computer revolution, yeah, where this computer revolution will take you. So, but I was very lucky to have found this field. I was interested in computer science the same way many students in our time are, like young students. They say, "What do you want to do?" And they say, "I want to become a doctor," and they don't know what becoming a doctor actually means. It was the same with me. I knew I wanted to do something in computer science. I didn't have an idea what computer science was. I didn't even have a computer at my home at that time. But I was lucky to sort of pursue it through FAST, and that gave me a very good base in computer science education and in software engineering and what programming was all about. And that, I think, was a very major um, cornerstone of my life, and it defined the path that I would take later. And then when I graduated, I did a little bit of work in the industry, but then I found myself more interested in teaching about computer science. So I taught computer science for about 10 to 15 years. I had most of that experience was in Lahore, but I also got a chance to teach in Karachi. I was part of Zabist University there for 5 years, and I taught computer science over there too. And that that experience actually opened my eyes to what I would like to say, like it helped me understand like learning is not easy and teaching is even more difficult. So
Very difficult.
how to get students to know what you know?
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's not very easy. So, and then when I got my Fulbright scholarship again, I was very, very lucky because people try for years. And for me, it was just I gave in one application and they called me for an I mean, I got selected first for an interview and then I went for that interview and they found I was suitable enough to give this grant. And I mean, again, I had never thought it would happen in one go, but it happened in a single
Mashallah.
go. And I was offered this scholarship um, I would say at quite a late age. So obviously, after having graduated and having 10 years of experience, you can imagine I was
Yeah.
around 40 at that time. So I got a scholarship to do my PhD at the age of 40, which is not very common again. And then I went to the US, and then that was a whole new learning experience, not only because I saw
Yeah.
the environment at my own level, because I went there to do my PhD, but I had my two daughters there with me as well. And both my daughters were in high school at that time, and they did their high school. So I was lucky enough not only to observe what happens in the university in the US, but I was always also able to see how they help students learn at the high school level because obviously I was looking after my daughters and how they are learning as well. So again, this was my personal journey. I will say that I was exceptionally lucky to have all these three experiences of learning computer science, then teaching it, and then getting this Fulbright scholarship and pursuing a PhD.
Yeah.
The message I would like, it was not easy at the same time. It every step of the way had its difficulties. So the message I would like for my younger, um, I would say, colleagues is that think of age as a number. Don't think that
Exactly.
opportunities are not there for you just because you've done so much and now you need to continue on the same path and now you can't do something new. Don't think of it like that. As long as Allah has granted you life, you have opportunities. And don't it's not easy. I mean, I'm saying this now because I've completed it, but I know when I was going for my PhD, it was a very daunting experience. I was very, yeah, obviously I was scared, like how would I do and what will I be able to do it well? Especially, there were some personal concerns as well because I had an eldest daughter who I was leaving behind in Pakistan for 4 years while I was in the US. So I had those personal concerns, and there were some professional concerns as well. Like I thought I'd never studied anything from abroad, and this is the first time, and I'm going into New York University. Even New York itself is daunting when you go to US for the first time. So there were a lot of things to be scared of, but what I found there is that life starts when you overcome your fears. So
Hmm.
you have to step over your fears to experience what there is to experience. And that is, I think, what I can say to my younger partners. Like I was able to do it at a fairly advanced stage. People who are younger have more opportunities, they have more strength, they have lesser things to think about. So just take the step, what the opportunity is offering you, and then you can always quit if it doesn't suit you, but don't quit before trying. I think this is one advice that I got from one of my teachers, and that was, I've held it to very close to my heart, and this is what I'd like to say to everyone else also. Don't quit before trying. If you try and you find out that you were not able to do it, it's okay to fail,
It's
because you
okay to
will
fail.
never have that regret that you didn't try.
Yes.
You'll
Yes.
never have that regret. But if you
Otherwise, you
don't
will
try
have
at
a guilt
all,
in it, in
yes,
yourself.
if you don't try at all, you will always regret. Oh, I got that opportunity, but I didn't do it. I couldn't take it. So it's like that. If you try and you fail, failing is not an issue. Failing is good for you actually. Failing helps you determine which directions you want to go. It closes certain paths for you and it opens others. So failing, never fear failure. Always fear not doing something
Not doing
over.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is my main message.
So about as you mentioned, fear. There was a quote coming in my mind that fortune favors the brave, right?
Yeah.
So this is about it.
That is true.
So
You have it, and it takes a lot to be brave. I mean, it's not easy. You just
it's
can't
not
tell a
easy.
person to
Yes.
be brave. You
It's
can't
not.
tell a person to be brave. You have to support them through it. And I was lucky that again I had a lot of support. I had my family and my own family, my brother, my sister, my mother, and then my in-laws, my husband, my mother-in-law especially. So all of them I had, and my children. They were a huge form of support. So again, you can't tell anyone to be brave, but you can help support them being brave. They have to do
Yeah,
it themselves. You know, there are other people around me who are there for me. It helps you. So
yeah.
another message from my side would be, if you see somebody trying to be brave, help them.
Help them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sameen Raza, for sharing your valuable insights, experiences, and vision with us today. Your journey from teaching computer science in Pakistan to pursuing a Fulbright PhD in the US is truly inspiring, especially for the youngsters who are trying, who are thinking about their future, right? You've given us a deeper understanding of how educational technology, learning analytics, and collaborative tools like AI and VR, virtual reality, can play a meaningful role in transforming how we teach and learn.
Yeah.
We're grateful for your time and your thoughtful perspective, and we hope today's conversation sparks curiosity and motivation, especially among educators, students, and women looking to pursue impactful careers in education and technology. So, thank you for your time,
Thank you,
Samir.
Bilal. On ending, I would like to end on this note that I feel that I gained a lot during this experience. And in my opinion, I think the best way that a person can be grateful for whatever he receives is by giving it forward. So, through your platform, I would like to let everyone know that if anyone is interested in pursuing foreign scholarships, if they're interested in pursuing foreign education and they need guidance, or if they want to apply for certain scholarships and they need guidance, or if they want to learn more about learning analytics and this field as a research field or as a field in which they would like to pursue their careers, I would like to offer my help for that. Um, Free of cost. And this is just from this place that because I was lucky enough to get this opportunity,
Yes,
I'm hoping that I'm able to help other people get similar or even better opportunities so that we can all grow as a nation. So through your platform, I'd like to put forward, like, you can share my email
yes,
address with other people, whoever
perfect.
needs to get in touch, whoever needs any guidance. I'm all there to help them to the best of my ability as far as I would be able to do.
Definitely, Sameen. Thank you so much because, and I know you're feeling responsible. You have a responsibility to put it forward
Yes.
to the other people,
I
and
think
yeah,
this is the responsibility of every human who
every
receives
human being.
anything.
Yes,
Yeah, we need to give what we receive. That's how we'll get more.
exactly,
That it's a
Sameen.
simple formula. Yeah. If you
Sameen,
want
thank
more money,
you.
give out more money, you'll get more. If you
Yes,
have more knowledge, give out more knowledge, you'll get more. So
yeah.
it's like that. Give out more of what you wish to receive. Yeah.
Exactly, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I request all of the viewers who will see our conversation and please share it to fellow comrades, fellow parents, fellow teachers, and everyone. And because it is a very important conversation, and we have taken some of the wisdom of Sameen here, and definitely, Sameen, we will definitely share with other people, and whoever will need help, we will definitely contact you about that. So,
Thank
thank
you
you
so much,
so much.
Bilal. It's
Thank you,
a
Sameen.
pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you.